Howdy, howdy, fellow movie watchers, and welcome back for another edition of the Wisco Movie Watchers Podcast, brought to you by PTE Creative. As always, we are your hosts, Evan Davies and Dylan Davies. Today, we are continuing our Top 100 series. This is episode 4 of that. If you would like to see our previous entries, you can do so on those previous episodes already released. And they're in chunks of 10, so we have 100 through 91, 90 to 81, 81, or 80 to 71, and you can see those also on a graphic right here. But nonetheless, back from that graphic here, I feel like we're getting a little bit more real in this one. I don't know about real, that's not the thing, but more, we're starting to get into that territory where you start just loving films, but you don't know where to put them.
Yeah, I mean the middle is definitely the part where it's like F 60, 70 through 40 range is the part where it's like, ooh, I love all these. It's like where to put them.
Yeah, it's to put it in movie parlance, it's a bit of a Sophie's choice half the time when you're ranking these, because you're like, well, I love that movie. I love that movie though, and you're like, well, yeah, but I love it as much as this, and you're like comparing your love for something, and it's so strange. We should say, what is your tiebreakers on this? Because I did have some tiebreakers mentally.
A lot of the time it's usually just like, what do I go back and rewatch the most?
Sure.
So like everything on my list, other than the stuff that I like have just added as like first time view, I've seen at least like 5 times.
Yeah.
So like, and there's stuff on the list 100 times probably.
Yeah. It's certainly up for discussion. I have a similar thing. Comfort movies usually took the tie, or if there was or tie kind of went to the higher quality film if it was like a dead heat, because a lot of mine are, you can tell where my lists deviate from really high quality film, and then the next one will be like, by most people's standards, low quality film, but it just means a lot to me. And so in that scenario, unless I could justify the love enough, tie kind of went to either the higher quality film, but most of the time it went to the comfort movie level, where I was like, okay, this is a comfort.
Every now and then I will put quality in there as well.
Yeah, and I don't, and there wasn't many times I had to do the quality one, because I was like, no, I think it's this. But yeah, 70 through 25, like the top 25 was the threshold, where I was like, are you a top 25 movie? If you're not a top 25 movie, that's fine, but now we start this ether zone of like, who's on this team? It's like, so it's an interesting one to say the least. But we're here for 70 through 61. I've had you start a lot of the episodes. You want to continue to start, or do you want me to start?
Doesn't matter. I can go first again if you want.
Sure, why not?
Okay, so my 70 is a movie that I discovered in the recent years. I think just a couple years ago I watched it for the first time, and I've rewatched it pretty frequently ever since. It's Smokey and the Bandit.
Smokey and the Bandit, okay.
The thing I always remember about it is that 70s show joke.
Yeah.
Where Orman really loves it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's just anytime he can mention Smokey and the Bandit, it's the only thing that he mentions that could rival Star Wars.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Early on, it's just like Smokey and the Bandit, Smokey and the Bandit, Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah. Because like Burt Reynolds has never been an actor that I'm like, oh, I just love Burt Reynolds. I need to check out everything he's in. But
he's a unique, interesting case of an actor. He's got this like weird icon status, but if you go back, he doesn't have like a filmography that's one where you go, oh, I get why he's an icon. Doesn't make sense at all.
But he's also like this very strange, like, X symbol of the 70s.
Yes.
So like, yeah, it's really weird um how popular he was back then.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the thing of it's just like a really fun comedy. It's really all it is. It's like it's him and Jerry Reed. They're the two leads in it. It um blanking Sally Field
I was gonna say it's Sally Field, Dylan.
as yeah. And their chemistry is electric. Him and her.
Well,
Because they
there's allegedly reports that that was the love of his life that he never did anything with.
well, they started dating because of this movie,
Yeah.
and then the sequel is completely ruined because in the movie they're breaking up, and then they're breaking up in real life throughout the shooting of it. So it's like, yeah, it's uncomfortable. Like it feels really real, which yeah, that never goes good. But like
Yeah, because
in the first one, you
in interviews since and other things, it's plain as day that Sally Field is the love of his life, and he's like, I fucked that one
yes,
up so hard.
yeah,
I should have never let that go.
yeah, and in the first one, you can really see like the kindling of a romance starting,
Yeah.
which is really nice to see. Um, yeah, it's just about like him and Jerry Reed smuggling beer across states. That's all it is.
Hell yeah.
Like, that's the plot of it. That's all it is. So
I mean,
yeah, it's just a
it's wild
fun.
that that's what you actually have to do.
Yeah, it's just a fun movie. It's not like I'm assuming it's probably like 9 it's just a fun watch.
Quick
Doesn't
watch too as well.
overstay its welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I've yet to see Smokey and the Bandit, but you know, every film fan knows imagery of Smokey and the Bandit, whether they think they do or not. You know
Yeah.
imagery of Smokey and the Bandit, and yeah, Burt Reynolds is a unique cat. It's just a. I remember him having a really big presence in Burn Notice. You remember that show that I used to love on USA?
Yes.
He had a huge presence on Burn Notice for a while, and I was like, "Oh shit, this show actually is like trying." Okay, hell yeah, I'll take it. Uh,
Yeah. And oh, never mind. I was trying to look up the box office of it.
Now I've opened the floodgate by telling you I don't have some of my box office ready for
Yeah.
my next
I
round
think
after this.
it did really well though
Oh yeah,
because it must have.
it's an
'Cause yeah,
it's a '70s icon status to where
yeah.
there are
Everyone knows it.
there are movies that everybody of the era knows, regardless of. I would find it hard to believe anybody in our age group that doesn't know the Avatar, right? Which obviously that's huge number one book stuff. But there's a
Yeah.
lot of people in the world of our age group that also haven't watched it because they're just like, it looks like some 3D crap I didn't want to watch.
Mhm.
Or they know Get Out. I think Get Out would be a perfect example of that, where people of our generation, even if they haven't seen Get Out, they're like, oh, I know Get Out. I know it. But
Yeah.
I haven't watched it. I think that's a better example than Avatar, number one movie in the world.
Yeah.
But
It's at not 96 minutes. So a nice breezy watch.
nice breezy watch. Yes, indeed. So my 70 is one in which uh, I would assume most people have not seen at this time. We're going to 1944. It's a top 10 hit of 1944, and that would be To Have and Have Not.
Okay.
The most beautiful woman the world has ever seen. Lauren Bacall
Disagree,
is
but
Lauren Bacall is fucking beautiful. But in all serious note, the chemistry between Bogey and Bacall is legitimately unreal. That is the movie couple for me. Is that is the movie standard of a couple. Is
yeah.
if you can get to Bogey and Bacall chemistry, you are top 10 chemistry ever.
Are they married at this point?
No, this is the movie that they
Okay.
were introduced together.
Okay. Yeah.
I think she's like 19 or 20 in this movie,
There is a huge age gap.
but
Yeah.
she is stunningly beautiful. Like just stunningly beautiful, and she is perfect for. There's just an aloofness about her that is perfect for playing this character that is so. She's got this like Catwoman vibe almost, where like
I see that. Yeah.
she's so entrancing, but yet there's something there that says there's a little bit of danger.
Well, yeah, she's like the perfect like noir femme fatale.
Yes, she is. Like it's legitimately like someone went into a lab and created the femme fatale for noir films of that time period. She is perfect for that. And Humphrey Bogart just being, kind of down on his luck sailor that also cares, like a ton of the roles that he played at the time. It's perfect because it brings this breath of fresh air to this character that he's. Humphrey Bogart is almost like an early Tom Cruise in the fact that he plays similar characters a lot of the time that all have this like
Yeah. Well,
they're
I would
all kind of
argue like I would argue most movie stars back then did.
1,000%. They it's like John Wayne. You knew when John Wayne was in a movie, you were getting
Yeah.
John Wayne. You weren't getting the character John Wayne played. You got John Wayne. Same deal with Humphrey Bogart. There's more to that depending on what he's doing, but it's always Bogey coming through. Say I
Yeah,
like
he did.
that's
Got a little more range like that, or in the later 40s and 50s with like Treasure of the Sierra Madre and African Queen and stuff. But like definitely in the early 40s, he was playing a type
I
like
mean
Maltese Falcon, Casablanca.
Maltese Falcon, Casablanca to have and have not Key Largo, like Key Largo even still into the late
Yeah,
40s. He's
The
doing.
Big Sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just Bogey playing private investigator tough guy or sailor tough guy or club owner tough guy.
yeah,
But he's got this air about him where you just buy him in the role that he's playing because although he's kind of playing it's kind of why you always buy Tom Cruise in the role that he plays because Tom Cruise generally
yeah,
stays in his lane and knows what he's doing, and he's made you believe that he's a badass action star, so you always buy him being a badass action star.
yeah.
That's why I compared him to Tom Cruise. But to have and have not, it's a really fun story, beautiful set, a lot of enjoyable stuff, and I loved just some of the practical effects of it. Of just like the fog scenes of him like sailing through the Gulf of Mexico, but it's nighttime near coast, and you get this really foggy vibe to it, where I think it's just kind of perfect for that. But more importantly than anything, it's like I said, I don't know if there's ever been chemistry like Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart. They have an insane level of chemistry.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up the age gap.
It's got to be 25, 30 years, I'd say.
He was born in 1899. He was born in 24. So 25 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was a heavy age gap there, but ironically enough, they were a couple that worked until he died. I'm not saying it was perfect from all
Yeah.
reports, but they stuck together. They actually worked. That wasn't one of those weird. This wasn't a Johnny Depp Amber Heard situation where there was a huge
Oh
age
yeah.
gap. They met, and then 5 years
Oh,
later,
I'm sure they had their problems just like they did.
oh,
But
I'm sure there was some problems. Don't get me wrong. I've read into it a
yeah.
little bit. It doesn't seem like it was perfect, but it does legitimately seem like they worked and loved each other very dearly.
Yes,
So,
that's true.
but
Yeah.
God,
It's
their
also
chemistry's insane.
yeah, it's also Howard Hawks. So
Yeah,
can't go wrong really with a Howard Hawks movie.
it's just a nice, passable movie. It's just nice. It's a
Yeah,
cozy watch for me.
I prefer The Big Sleep, but it's just a personal preference.
Sure.
Like if I'm gonna pick like a McCall and Bogey movie,
Yeah.
or even Key Largo.
I say I
That
like Key Largo a lot. I think I would go to Have and Have Not, Key Largo, Big Sleep, Dark Passage for their filmography together.
Dark Passage is.
Yeah,
I
Dark.
just watched that not that long
The
ago
only
for
reason anyone today would
Oscars.
watch,
Yeah.
the only reason anyone would watch Dark Passage today is because it's a Bogey and Bacall film. There's no reason to watch Dark Passage other than that. Where you just like,
Yeah,
oh,
I
I'm
watched it
doing the
because it won
quartet.
an Oscar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Um.
it's not. I think it's the weakest of the four together.
Yeah. Warner Brothers movie. I was wondering
Warner Brothers was
which studio it was.
Warner Brothers was unbeatable back in the day, man. It was them and Universal, the only ones that were really doing well making movies.
There
And
was a lot of good studios back then. I mean,
Paramount obviously was doing well, but it was like Warner Brothers was like the unquestioned king for
yeah.
forever, and now they're flat on their ass.
As much as I despise the studio system for like how awful they treated people, like I will say
There was a method to the madness that unfortunately
there was a method. Yes.
there was a method to the madness that when it came to the product that came on film was undeniably good for the film. However, it came at a huge cost that never should have been
Yeah.
ever allowed to happen, which was the treatment of
Especially
people.
yeah, especially the treatment of women, especially.
Yes. Just
Um,
some of the fucking horror stories. We went over it with The Wizard of Oz. That
yeah,
when we talked
Judy
Wizard of
Garland,
Oz,
great example.
where
Yeah,
Judy Garland and Margaret Hamilton were just fucking abused in that movie, and it fucking sucks. But nonetheless, that is to have and have not. My number 70. Take us to 69.
my number 69 is 1992's The Bodyguard.
Wow, that is a pick I did not see in your top
Yeah,
100.
I I don't love Kevin Costner, but like, there's a lot of Kevin Costner movies that I really love.
He's got it's a weird thing with him in which there's something about some of those movies, especially the early 90s ones, where you're just like, yeah, this works.
Yeah. And there's movies that like I know other people don't love that I actually really do. Like I love Dances with Wolves. I know a lot of people think that movie's like really boring
Sure.
and completely bloated.
Well,
But
one of us was allegedly conceived while watching Dances with Wolves,
yes,
so
yes, I remember that.
sorry
Yes.
for too much information, podcast listeners and viewers, but
Um yes.
because quote,
But
it's a long, boring movie.
yeah, that's what most people say. But I really love that movie. But The Bodyguard is very similar to Smokey and the Bandit in the sense of it completely revolving around the chemistry between the two leads.
They do have an insane amount of chemistry. It's
And Kevin
wild.
Costner and Whitney Houston have an insane amount of chemistry. It works so well.
Voice of an angel, man, and she
Yeah.
takes
Oh my!
she
That
takes what's
soundtrack is
already.
incredible.
It's an incredible soundtrack. The Bodyguard is exactly like Smokey and the Bandit. Whether you watched it or not, you know what the fucking Bodyguard is. You have
Yes.
to. Everybody knows
Well,
it of a certain
if you don't,
generation.
even if you don't know the movie, you at least know "I Will Always Love You." Like,
That's how insane. I just want to speak on this for a second. I don't think anybody has ever had a voice better than Whitney Houston's, and I know that's saying a lot.
no, I would actually probably agree with you. Like top 3 women voice
And
like
it's
of all
not like
time.
she's always considered one of. I'm like, no, she's a one of one. The range she has, the insane. I love Whitney Houston, by the way, beyond just her work with The Bodyguard. I just love pretty much all of Whitney Houston's catalog. But the insanity that she takes what's already a phenomenal Dolly Parton song, like truly
Yeah, I was gonna say,
phenomenal Dolly Parton song.
like her version is so good that it completely overshadows someone who's already super famous.
And she's iconic. Like Dolly Parton's already
Yeah,
iconic at this
already
time.
iconic. Yeah,
And that song's already well known, and people just go, Yeah, but this one, it's very much the same thing with "Hurt" by Johnny Cash, where people don't
Yes.
even realize
Yeah.
that's a Nine Inch Nails song. That's a Johnny
Yes.
Cash song now. And
Yes.
same thing with Whitney. People don't even know that that's a Dolly Parton song. For years, I had no idea that was a Dolly Parton song. And that's what I love about Dolly Parton. She's just like, hey, she did it way better than I did. That's her song at this point. She's like, I'll sing my version all day long, but she did such a good, and she's such a gracious
Yeah.
person. That's why Dolly's the best. But like, she's like, hey, she did that version. That's her song now, baby. Like that's
Yeah.
hers.
Yeah. And she would get to other songs from the movie nominated for Oscars. I Have Nothing, also an amazing song,
Yeah.
and Run to You. Um, didn't win, which is a shame, but that just shows how stacked that category was that year because it was those two songs from The Bodyguard and then two songs from Aladdin, A Whole New World, and I think Friend Like Me were the
Was
two
to
from.
was I Will Always Love You not eligible because it was an original song?
Yeah, it's a cover, so you can't. It's not original. And then
Whoever won on a technicality, and they have to know that. They won
well
on a technicality.
the winner was A Whole New World.
Disney's like, thank God that was an adapted song.
Yeah,
Thank God that wasn't
yeah.
an original song. Because there's no way that
But that's like
wins.
like four songs from two movies. That's a stack category.
That's
Yeah.
pretty goddamn stacked, yeah.
Um,
Whitney
but like
Houston's impressive in that movie.
I was
No
gonna
one
say,
expects Whitney to be that.
she has like great acting chops. Like she is great in the movie.
It probably helps that she was kind of just living her life to a degree.
Pretty much. But yeah, that's pretty much true. Yeah. But it's like also like a fun thriller plot, which I'm a sucker for thrillers.
Yeah.
They're fun. And like shitty ones are usually tend to be pretty fun. So and it has like a running plot where he's like being nominated for an Oscar and stuff, so that
Yeah.
adds to it. It's always fun.
Yeah, it's just
Oh, and then it's got that cozy scene where they go up to like soda or some shit, up to a cabin, snowy mountains. Oh, that's a cozy scene.
Yeah, I did not see The Bodyguard being on your top 100, but
I really love it.
it
Yeah,
it would be hard to find a movie with a better soundtrack than The Bodyguard. Whitney Houston does
yeah.
such a good job with that soundtrack. It's
I
insane.
what I should have done, I should have looked up best-selling soundtracks because I'm sure it's still up there.
Yeah. Well, it's insane. Everybody knows the drop before the vocal, and then all of a sudden you're like, I know it's coming. And then she just hits that high note and you're like, holy fuck. I didn't know this was humanly possible to hit it in this style of a song. Goddamn. Voice of an angel. Love Whitney Houston. Kind of crazy, but love Whitney Houston. But again, Kevin Costner.
Well, they remain friends like their entire life, which is awesome.
That's also
'Cause
great.
he gave a speech at her funeral, everything. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean we've only been talking about Whitney Houston. Kevin Costner does a good job in what he's doing. It's not as if Kevin Costner's a fucking schlub in that movie and it's all
Oh no,
Whitney.
I mean he's so great. Okay, so yes, The Bodyguard is the best-selling soundtrack in terms of movies of all time.
That's not shocking.
Yeah. And it's not even close actually. 'Cause the next closest is they sold 50 million, and then the next closest is 40 million, Saturday Night Fever. I mean,
Damn.
yeah, that
Damn.
shows.
It's the power. It's the power of Whitney Houston right there for you. All right. So this was not meant to be a joke, seeing how we have to comment on this story and the contents of this story every time we talk about it. But I'm going to 2017. It's the 13th highest grossing film of 2017, and that would be It, which is It Chapter 1, essentially, where they're all kids. I, again, did not funnily put it at 69 because of the cocaine-addled fever dream that is the book scene to kill Pennywise.
Yeah, we reference that so much, but I should at one point I should look up what Stephen King's. Has he ever commented on that?
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know,
it,
man.
it's such a strange thing that like, has anyone ever just been like, "What were you thinking?"
Yeah. Yeah. For my blurb, I'll just to get away from that because if you don't know by now, listen to our other podcast. It's come up enough that
But yeah, yeah.
like it comes up
I
every
think
time because you have to cover it. It's
I
something
think
you
most
cannot
people
let
know
go.
it now.
Yeah. But such a fun and inviting film to be scared by. Pennywise is creepy as hell, a perfect Elseworlds villain for this Stranger Things adjacent story, and all the kids they have in the crew are tremendous. All those kids do a really good job in that. Um, and God, what's her name? Who plays Bev in that? Um, it's gonna drive me It's gonna drive me crazy because she's getting more and more roles, and she's
I
clearly
got it.
on the
I'll look it up.
path. She's clearly on the path to becoming a star, where everyone knew this is the one out of this cast. Obviously, and Finn Wolfhard is on that cast as well.
Sophia Lillis.
Yeah, Sophia Lillis. She is tremendous. But the entire cast does a great job. The setting of Derry is perfect. You get this really creepy vibe of what does it mean to grow up in a time period where you're just kind of on your own as a kid. You know, it's not that parents don't care about you. It's not that as if parents don't love their kids, but especially at that time frame, it very much was a world's your oyster. Be back by lights out.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. One of the things I really love about it is like I'm glad it was so successful because it showed how R-rated horror movies could still be made, and like they don't have to be giant, you know, giant. Like it is a bigger budget horror movie,
yeah,
but it's not like a giant fucking blockbuster movie.
it is perfect for that kind of middle range. We should look up the budget before we say anything definitively on this.
I'm guessing it's right around 120, maybe.
Yeah,
Uh,
I would probably assume that it is a perfect movie for the middle
oh,
ground.
whoa, no, it's way less
Is it
actually.
40?
Yeah, 40 million.
That's perfect. That is a perfect movie budget. And the thing
I'm
is this
actually
with the
I'm pleasantly surprised by that.
well, I think it's mostly you're not paying an expensive cast. You don't have the inflated cast numbers.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Number one. And it's not to say you shouldn't get stars. I think the stars should make the money that they're worthy of. But when you're paying kids, you don't have to pay them millions of dollars to be in your movie.
Yeah. I'd be
To,
curious. I'm actually gonna look up the sequel because
the sequel's got, I mean, that's the star.
lot higher.
I mean, that's a lot of cast members that you have to pay. I mean, you have Jessica Chastain, you have Bill Hader, you have James McAvoy. Like, though they're demanding salaries compared to, kids where, you can pay them essentially
It's double. It's 80 million.
exactly, and a lot of that is going to be star cost and visual effects budgets. That's what Chapter 2 is compared to the original here. But it comes out it will never it should never be underestimated how important Stranger Things is to the success of this movie
Oh yeah, 100%.
because this is perfectly timed release. This is right around Stranger Things, I want to say season 2 coming out, where Stranger Things goes from that fun Netflix to truly a part of the American zeitgeist. And then
Yeah,
it comes out immediately right around that time, and it's just
yeah. It definitely hit right at the peak of the 80s nostalgia
yeah,
thing. So that definitely helps.
and it was perfectly timed. Everything about It Chapter 1 is perfectly timed and well done. Sadly, Chapter 2 does not have that, but Chapter
Yeah.
1 is phenomenal.
I think it's a little bit too long but I like most of the stuff in it.
Yes.
I don't know what I would cut.
Exactly.
That's the
That's I
problem.
could understand someone saying, "Oh, I think this is a lot," but it'd be like, "What are you gonna cut?" It's one of those movies
Yeah.
that what do you cut kind of thing. It's not one of those movies where you could easily go, "Let's cut this, let's cut this, let's cut this," because you need a lot of the stuff that might seem superfluous. It's all the character development to all the characters. It's like Sophia Lillis's character, her dad abusing her, and like Pennywise fucking with her, Mike having to kill the livestock, and it's like, what? How does that impact him? Like, you have to do all those to see the torment of all of those characters, and then put them in the situations where the torment is there, but it's not Pennywise doing it. It's just their real life, and then how has that torment morphed how they think about it? But it's really well done. It's perfect to show. I think it does a really good job of showing how to impact your characters to the point where one event or one interaction can make you feel like all interactions are involved in that, even though they might not be. I think that's perfect. That makes sense. But
Yeah, I mean, it's a the only downfall is uh, Andy Muschietti, the director, really hasn't moved on to do anything else.
he's the one who did the Flash, right?
Yes.
And he's got some stupid opinions on that, let me tell you. He is of the opinion that the Flash failed financially because half the audience didn't want to see the Flash, also known as women didn't want to see the Flash. And I would argue
Well,
that's incorrect. No one wanted to see the Flash because it sucked.
and he also said that all the bad visual effects in it are on purpose. No, they aren't.
No,
I
they're not.
can promise you that right now.
No, they're
They're
not.
not.
Yeah. Oh, and that's why it makes me wildly frustrated that he still is on. Apparently, he's going to be directing um, either Dynamic Duo or Brave of the Bold. Like it's either the Batman Superman team up or it's the Batman and Robin uh, story for DC. I'm like, no, the Flash is a career killer for me. That's one where I just go, unless you got
Yeah.
some behind the scenes story as to tell me why this is the way it is, you're
That's what
you're not
that's
getting
one
hired
where
by
you
me.
that's one not a career killer, but one where you need a reset, where you need to prove yourself again.
Yeah, go. Here's $20 million for a small budget movie. Figure that one out
Yeah.
before I'm going to give you. I'm not going to give you. It's just the fact that Warner Brothers has two sacred cows at this point. There is Batman and there's the Harry Potter franchise. That's it.
Yeah.
I sure as hell am not going to give you the greatest sacred cow Warner Brothers has ever had after The Flash. After it, maybe. Because it's great. And It Chapter 2, although it's a bit meandering, I was like, okay, I could understand it. Now your budget,
And it made money.
and it still made money.
Yeah.
But there's no way in hell I'm going to give you. I'm not going to give you Batman after The Flash. That's insane.
Yeah.
All right,
We'll see, I guess.
take it to 68 because that's sad because we shouldn't end with it being on a bad note because Andy Muschietti does a great job with it. But that cast is tremendous.
Um,
The settings are great. It's creepy as hell. Love it.
my number 68 is something I actually just rewatched last night. It's Mr. Smith Goes to Washington
You
from
watch this. Why does
1939.
it feel like every time I talk to you, you watch this movie?
Hey, it's a great movie. And it's Frank Capra, Jimmy Stewart, and second appearance of Jean Arthur, an actress I absolutely love from back in the day. First note I took is really sad that it's still relevant. Like the
Would
whole
you?
idea, the whole idea that you politicians can be bought and there's corruption going on in the Senate. It's completely fucked up that it still is like 100% as relevant as ever.
Well, we are actually recording this on, if I remember correctly, Inauguration Day, and
Yes,
uh,
yes, we are.
Other than the fact that it's inauguration day, it's a great day outside for us Wisconsinites. It's currently 0 degrees, and it's time for, and we both have the day off, so we're both going to probably watch a lot of movies and hang out today. Other than the inauguration of a complete despot tyrant, it's a great day. And yeah, it's sad that, obviously this episode's coming out in April, but yeah, it's sad that in 2025, a movie that's almost 100 years old is still incredibly relevant to the
Yes,
American political system, where you just know it. You just accept it as part of your daily life. You're like, yeah, they're all crooked. Who fucking cares at this point? I can't do anything
exactly.
about it.
It's sad when you're at the point where you go, it's a given. Yeah, it is what it is. But
And it should never be
yeah,
like that. Which is why I vote
th-
for the people I do. But
yeah, and Frank Capra kind of has this thing. He's kind of asking the same question in all his movies, which is like, can simple, honest, good people stay that way in a world, in a survive that way in harsh realities of the world? Like that's what he's asking in all his movies.
that's what makes it. I mean, here's the thing. I don't think I've ever seen a single Ford Capra movie, Ford movie, anything like that. Because it's just I haven't done enough deep dives into the past as much as I'd like to. Because my deep dives always turn into the 80s. Uh, but at the same time, that's why they have that's why they stand up to time. Because it's not
Yeah,
about issues of 1939 or 44 or whenever the movie's being made. It's about a universal issue, like you just said. Can good people? What does it mean to be a good person in the harsh realities that good people get chewed up and spit out? You know?
yeah, and it's a really pretty, it's a simple story. Really, it's just Jimmy Stewart is like a small time politician in his state who just gets thrown into the Senate because he gets picked because they think he'll just be a nobody that'll just go with the system. He
Yeah.
won't buck the system. And then he's just an honest, good person who is idealistic and the world in an idealistic way. And he's his other senator, played by Claude Rains, who's just a fucking piece of shit in the movie.
Claude Rains is awesome. He's
Yeah.
such a good actor. I love Claude Rains.
He's such an underrated actor. But
He also just
yeah, they
plays a corrupt villain well. There's just
yeah,
something about him that's still endearing, but you're just like, you son of a bitch.
he plays like the slimeball politician so well in it. But yeah, it's like Jimmy Stewart being Jimmy Stewart, who is like the Tom Hanks, the original Tom Hanks, Robin
Yes,
Williams, like
yes.
just being the all American boy.
You don't ever want to see those guys in a villain role. You just
No,
don't.
yeah,
Which is why even
it's
like,
great.
which is why later on in Robin Williams' career, when he's doing more villain roles, I think that's why part of the reason it doesn't work for a lot of people is because
Yeah,
they don't want to boo you, they want to cheer you. You're, it's classic psychology. They like you too much. They don't want to see you in that role. But nonetheless, Jimmy Stewart. Here's the thing: I haven't seen a single full movie of Jimmy Stewart, and I know he's the Tom Hanks of his era. Like that's how much Jimmy
yeah.
Stewart played that role to a T.
I'm surprised you didn't see this in high school at all. I was shown it in high school.
I think it's simply I had a lot of teachers that didn't value the tools of film, specifically from an English perspective where you could really use that. They picked other stuff that just didn't. It was either too advanced for what we were learning, which is why it didn't really connect with people, or it was like old stuff of a 50s, 60s, 70s range that just didn't work for kids of our age at the time.
Yeah. Well, I remember like no one really cared for the movie when we watched it.
Except you.
I think it was well, even back then I was like whatever. Like I didn't really care that much about it because I was just back then I didn't care all that much about politics or anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it was sophomore year of high school. And that was the same class that
Who showed you that movie?
watching.
What teacher was that?
I can't remember, but it was the same. They also showed Schindler's List too. So I remember watching a bunch of movies that
Good
for
on you.
history.
Good on you. Because I got stuck with Life is Beautiful with subtitles, not dubbed, for a
Hey,
fucking final.
Life is Beautiful is a good movie.
I'm not shitting on the movie. I'm saying it's inappropriate with just subtitles to try to do a research paper final and watch the movie in 4 hours. That's what I'm saying is inappropriate for a sophomore in high school.
A dream.
Like, that's not good. No
That's
bueno.
my dream right there. Yeah.
To
Uh,
write a cohesive paper and trying to take notes while also reading subtitles and not really getting to watch the movie because you're writing notes for your paper and you only have a certain amount of time that is just no. No,
yeah.
that's not a good idea.
Obviously, the thing everyone knows about this movie is the filibuster scene.
Yeah.
But I think like the whole movie it's
Yeah,
still a great
it's
movie.
certainly one that I would like to go back and watch and see how well it holds up. I'll take it from a non-problematic actor in terms of the characters he played because I don't know enough about Jimmy Stewart to say that he was problematic or not.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I haven't heard
I
anything.
haven't heard anything. I'll take you to a highly problematic actor, but a movie that I just fucking love. We're going to the year 2000, 18th at the box office. It's The Patriot, starring Mel Gibson.
Yeah, yeah.
Highly problematic actor, one of the most problematic
Yeah,
of our time.
yes, that's for sure.
But literally in the blurb I have pre-reveal of his super problematic ways. Mel Gibson was damn good. Really enjoyable ride through the revolutionary period. Heath Ledger is tremendous, and some unexpected twists in the story keep this engaging for me. They really, in a very emotional, almost romantic way, cut the legs out from under you multiple times in that movie in a way I really respect. Where in a war
Yeah.
movie, you know at least one person you care about is going the way of the dodo.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
But it just keeps happening in this movie where it's just we're gonna take out the sons, then we're gonna take out other sons, then we're gonna take out the son that you think is like definitely gonna make it, right? Oh, and we're gonna take out the whole town that supports you. You're like, Jesus Christ, like,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they go to some pretty dark areas movie.
and they really get to the haunting nature of what it means to be in war, but
And
they do it in a
yeah,
wonderful period piece way.
got Lucius Malfoy in there, Jason Isaacs as a great villain.
God, he's a great villain. He's a great
Yeah,
villain.
he's very hateable in that movie.
I mean, he's hateable in almost everything he chooses to do as a
Yeah, that's
villain.
true. That's very true.
I think didn't he once say he didn't want to play Lucius Malfoy because he just was sick of playing the villain all the time?
I don't know. I mean, I have a hard time believing he doesn't like playing villains because he does such a good job.
Yes. And the thing is this he's another one of those actors that will never get the credit he deserves. He's such a
True.
he's a
Yeah.
great he's a great actor and he's great at playing not the top villain but the shittier second villain underneath that you hate more
Yeah.
than the top one. Because the top one, you usually go, you're fucked, you're out of your mind, but usually somehow they're slightly more principled. Or Jason Isaacs plays I do this because I like torturing people,
Yeah.
I like killing
The
people.
sadist.
He plays a sadist so fucking well. I would love to get to see him in a lot of modern stuff as a villain and just let him cook. Just let him cook. I think
I
he'd.
don't see him in that much anymore.
I don't know. He doesn't really do much anymore, but he's tremendous in that movie. He pushes that movie along really well. Mel Gibson does a great job. Jolie Richardson's very fun in this movie as well. But Heath Ledger obviously brings a lot of the warmth and the heart of the movie as to why you're constantly rooting for them. Uh, and it does actually it's still a little ham-fisted at times, but it does a
A little
pretty
bit.
it does a decent job of showing the passage of time subtle flex to accepting the other and understanding at the time of such racism and distrust between races why someone would go from a racist piece of shit to no, I really need to value people and need to stop doing this.
Yeah. Well, it is a Roland Emmerich movie, so
Yeah.
I'm not expecting like complete nuance
Yeah,
there.
but Donald Luke actually shows a little bit of nuance in that role, and I'll be like, okay, I'll give that one to you because I know him from like failed sitcoms from our time, from like our childhood. So to see him in more serious roles, but it's just interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a comfort movie for me as well. I found it and I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll watch it. And I was like, oh, I really like this. And every like 6 months, I don't know what to do, and I just see The Patriot as one of the first thumbnails on a streaming service, and I go, I'll watch Patriot again. Click, and I'll just kind of fast forward through half the parts that I want to watch. But it's a good movie. Good movie. Problematic human being behind
Yeah.
it, but good movie.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. All right. I 76. No,
67.
67. Sorry, 67. We did a full episode on it, so I'm not going to talk about it much. It's The Exorcist.
Alrighty.
If you want the full views, go listen to our episode.
Very much so, and we did just talk about it in my 70 range, so we definitely
Yeah,
don't need to triple down on it. What a phenomenal film! What a
yeah.
phenomenal film! Oh wait,
It was
no, we didn't talk about it in my 70s, but we might talk about it in the next block. So.
okay. Um, yeah, it's one that used to be on my list way early when I started doing this, like 2017 ish
Yeah,
range, and then it completely fell off because I would just remember going, I think that movie's kind of overrated. And then when I rewatched it for the podcast, like, actually, you know what? I fucking love this movie.
underrated if anything. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's grown in my esteem a lot more. So, yeah.
I came to love it as well. The Exorcist is great. Highly recommend it. And tremendous horror movie. Tremendous horror movie. To the point where the Academy had to acknowledge it. That should tell you something. If you listen to our Oscars episode, that should tell you they never acknowledge horror. And even they were like, it's too good. We fucking have to acknowledge this one.
Yep.
Tremendous movie. We'll take it to 67. I guarantee it's one you're going to want to talk about. I don't know if it's in your top 100, but I know you're going to want to talk about it. I'm going to take you to 1991. It was sixth at the box office that year. Your favorite actor of all time was in it. It's Hook. Robin Williams, Dustin Hoffman, Spielberg film.
Yeah. Not on my list, but movie I do love.
I adore Hook. It's a quintessential childhood adventure film embodying the spirit of being a child. What does it mean to be a kid? The
I
whimsy
know
of
Spielberg. Spielberg uses this as one of his low points in his career, but I don't care. I love this.
um. I'll speak to that in a second. Just the whimsy of Robin
Okay.
Williams with the team of Steven Spielberg is a match made in heaven. I don't understand. Now, you saying that, I never knew that. That is fucking wild to me. I think it's because I remember seeing interviews about Jurassic Park because he was doing Jurassic Park and Schindler's List at the same time.
Yes. I don't
And
that.
and I recall him saying that like right before Schindler's List.
He had to leave Jurassic Park early to go start shooting.
Yeah, because didn't he need like the winter or whatever
In
where it was
Poland.
in
Yeah.
Poland? So he had to leave Jurassic Park behind, which is part of the reason why the VFX come out the way they do, because he has to
Well,
leave, and all of a sudden it's like,
um, I think the only thing they needed to finish was the sound and something else. So he had George Lucas take over
which
for
is
that aspect.
hilarious.
It pays off to have like great friends.
Yeah. And also, Jurassic Park is tailor made for George Lucas. That's great to have George on
That's
a
true.
project like
Yeah.
that. It's just kind of silly fun with some thrills. That's perfect for George. The thing about Hook that with that commentary behind it is last night I'm on a real kick right now trying to fill some gaps into my filmography of obvious holes that I would like to fill. So I watched Spirited Away for the first time all the way through a couple days ago. Last night I tracked down Aliens because it was on Peacock. I was like, sure, I've never watched Aliens. It's really overrated, but nonetheless,
Eh,
it
overrated
doesn't
in what sense?
it doesn't hold up. It doesn't hold up.
I disagree with that, but I don't think it's like one of the best action movies ever made. I think it's a good movie.
I think it's good. It just doesn't hold up for me. It's just very. It feels very. It feels too James Cameron me in the wrong ways for me. So that's what it
Okay.
is. But that's yeah. It especially knowing some of his views on how women are should be portrayed in film. It's why because he's like theoretically super progressive, but he just essentially makes a male character that just happens to be female. He's like that's what female heroes are. It's like no, they could also be feminine. They can also like that was his big bitch about Wonder Woman. He's like no Sarah Connor. It's like Sarah Connor is essentially the way you made her is just picture your stereotypical badass. Okay, your stereotypical male badass. Now give him tits. That's the way James Cameron kind of views his like female heroes half the time in action movies, and he just does it multiple times over in Aliens. And I'm like, wow, it's a little one note, don't you think? Where Sigourney Weaver at least has some depth to her, but like especially Vasquez, I was like, oh my god, this character's so annoying. But that's a
Uh,
different story. Uh, but I was looking at Spielberg films at the time, and it is kind of strange that outside of Last Crusade, from like 85 to 93, there isn't like a landmark, like, holy shit film for Spielberg.
uh, well, he starts getting into his more serious phase
Yes, he
around then,
does. He certainly does.
as it goes. Color Purple, and then Empire of the Sun, and then
There's a one in
yeah,
89. I think there's another one in
Last
there too.
Crusade is in '89,
Yeah.
and Always is in '89, which is like a really really sentimental like love story, and then Hook.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And to think that this is your low point is insane to me. Hook is a
I
phenomenal
would say
movie.
I would
Hook's a
say
great movie.
Always is his low point, but yeah. I think maybe he's just viewing that whole general period as his low point. I'm not sure.
Well, I remember watching an interview with him, what I was saying before, in which he was. This is when he was starting to really embrace his background. Like, he felt for the longest time in his life, he was kind of shying away from his Jewish background and kind of always just went, family dysfunction. I don't ever want to be a part of that. Which is why a lot of his earlier films are really relatable because they all have some sort of broken family dynamic to them, and it allows you to really relate.
Every single one does. So yeah.
And
Almost
then
every single one of his movies has an absent father at some point.
yeah, and then and well, it's just ironic because then he goes to an absentee dad to be his main character for Hook. but yeah, he was going through some soul searching at this time, and part of the reason he wanted to do Schindler's List, he finally kind of embraced his religious background and got back into things and got remarried or whatever. So, um, yeah, it's just interesting to think that one of the most the whimsiest film I could think of is his like low point. I'm like, no, Hook's awesome. Hook's great.
Yeah. I mean, it is like one of the that and always are like the ones that are perceived the worst. critically.
I think Hook's one of those movies critically that probably got panned at the
It
time,
did.
but our entire generation loves Hook.
Yes.
And it's with time, everyone's like, that movie's great. What's the reviews on it? And you're like, wait,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a fun movie.
It's
Like
just fun.
that's
Would,
the main thing
would
about it.
this movie earn the patent Dylan Davies cozy? Would
Oh
you?
yeah, 100%.
And
Like especially like I know like it's the least interesting aspect of the movie, all this stuff in London,
yeah,
but that stuff's cozy.
it's very cozy. Also,
All the like
Dame Maggie
it's all
Smith is in this movie. Does a great
yes,
job.
yes.
Julia Roberts playing a pseudo jilted lover Tinkerbell is also
Yeah.
really smart, especially for the time.
Yeah. Also that's yeah, one of my biggest crushes is early 90s Julia Roberts. She'll be showing up I think in the next episode if I'm
yeah,
not
just
mistaken.
Dustin Hoffman does a great job as Captain Hook. Robin Williams is legitimately the perfect casting for this iteration of Peter Pan. He's pretty good for any Peter Pan in general. Even if you wanted to go book Peter Pan that gets really fucking dark, but nonetheless, finding what it means to have that childlike wonder again, there is not a single human being that has ever acted in their life that is a better choice for that than Robin Williams.
Yeah. And then when you add in like all the Lost Boys and everything, fits in perfectly with them.
Yes. And also, just to end it, Rufio.
Yes.
Rufio. I had I had a kid I worked with in Philly, and he came back with like a red mohawk, and he just kind of had a Rufio vibe to him. And one day I was just like, "Yo, Rufio, what's up?" And then I explained Hook to him, and he's like, "Wait, that sounds awesome." And then I showed him a clip or two of Rufio. He's like, "That's awesome." And I was like, "All right, we're passing it along. I did my good deed for the day by passing Hook on to the next generation." So I'd
Yeah.
occasionally just kind of go, Rufio, Rufio. God, what a fun movie.
Yeah, it is like there is like a lot of great Spielberg movie magic in it. Like
Yes,
great map paintings, great visual effects in it. So
the set is incredible on those. Just so much wonder, so much fun. Ironic that it does have a skateboard ramp in it. Never thought that would be in Neverland, but
yeah.
nonetheless, we'll take it. We'll take it.
Hey, it's the late '80s, early '90s. What are you gonna do?
You know,
Can't skate
I mean,
some sports.
apparently TMNT was too powerful the year before.
Yeah,
They had to have
yeah,
some
definitely.
skateboarding.
Yeah.
But what a fun movie. Hook's great. I love Hook. Take us to your 66. I know we've been talking a lot about our OG favorites in this one.
66 is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Wow. Okay.
Um, I mean, most people know Guardians of the Galaxy, so I don't need to talk about it that much. Like, it's just a fun. I think it's the most fun Marvel movie there is because you're
Yeah.
getting a crew of misfits of completely original characters that pretty much no one knows anything about at that point.
Yes.
Like, I had never heard of any of those characters ever.
I will illustrate for you how obscure those characters are. So, growing up, I was always a DC reader, not really a Marvel reader. I'd dabble into Marvel. But I knew a ton of Marvel. Like, I'd still read the books on that had like every character. I'd try to find like every character possible about. Those books don't even talk really about Guardians of the Galaxy at that point. I had read the 2008 run of Guardians of the Galaxy like right before when they announced the movie. I said, "Okay, I got to know this. I got to know this if it's in my wheelhouse." And I was floored by how much I loved those characters. But to illustrate how no one knew those characters whatsoever, The first showing of Guardians of the Galaxy that was available in the city of Milwaukee was a 7 o'clock showing on a Thursday. There was myself and 11 other people in that theater. And this is just 2 years removed from Avengers, like one of the biggest movies of all time, and Marvel can do legitimately no wrong at this point. Regardless of how bad Thor: The Dark World and Iron Man 3 are, still everyone's like Marvel, Marvel, Marvel.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy is the biggest Hail Mary pass they have ever thrown in their entire life. In that studio. It was, if Guardians of the Galaxy works, this studio is made for life. If Guardians of the Galaxy doesn't work, we're gonna have to be shoveling shit hard to get out.
True. Yeah.
And
it's
by the time I've watched Guardians of the Galaxy in a theater more than any other movie I ever have. At the time, my wife was gone. She was in Spain, Portugal, and the Azores for like a medical trip for like 6-7 weeks. So the only thing I had to do was, besides go to work, is I'd pay $5 on Tuesdays and $5 on Thursdays at Marcus Theaters because of my student discount, and I would just watch Guardians of the Galaxy on repeat. And I saw it 5 times in the theater. And
I think I saw it 4 or 5 times as well.
And by the time I saw my last screening, there was still a full theater. That's how damn good that movie is.
That's like one of my proudest moments is like when the first trailer came out. I remember all the talk on the internet was like, what the fuck is this movie? And then when I saw it, I was like, I think this movie's going to be a fucking huge hit.
Yeah.
Because I thought it looked amazing. And it just looked like a huge space opera.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars space opera. But like way more fun than any Star Wars movie had been since the original trilogy.
Yes.
So, yeah. And I love the look of it with all the neon and all that.
Yes.
It's gorgeous.
The one thing I think Guardians of the Galaxy will never get enough credit for is Guardians of the Galaxy makes people believe in high places that strange niche characters can work. Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy is the reason we can have B, C, and D list villains that fans like in movies now. Like before Guardians of the Galaxy, you can't have Killer Croc in a movie. Yeah, like you can't have some of those out there kind of characters without like a huge rewash spin from the studio just making them generic as hell, because they don't believe that those things can work. And when you have a talking tree and you have a walking tree and a talking raccoon that is a wizard with mechanical engineering and is actually a genius in a lot of ways, but is a smartass, it makes everyone believe anything is possible in the movies. Guardians of the Galaxy will always be undervalued for what it did for characters.
It's just testament to good storytelling.
Exactly. It's fucking great. Love Guardians of the Galaxy. I'll take you to 66 here. We're going to stay in your Kevin Costner early 90s loop. Not many people's favorite of his, but Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, 1991.
Ah, yes.
So, a Robin Hood without an accent may be absurd. Sure.
It's the biggest critique I hear.
However, the commitment to fun in this movie with a quality cast makes it an enjoyable watch, especially for someone who has loved the Robin Hood story since childhood. Robin Hood makes a lot of appearances for me because I just love the character. I love the story. Robin Hood is perfect for today's day and age where all you want to do is rob like hedge fund CEOs that ruin our fucking world and just take all their shit and just redistribute it to all the people.
Yeah.
Robin Hood will forever be universal.
I was going to say, it's funny how the Robin Hood story, it will never not be relevant.
Yes.
Like, it's always going to be relevant.
That's the thing, is people don't realize that Robin Hood, because it comes up every time a new Robin Hood movie is made, like every 6 to 10 years. Why are we still making Robin Hood? Because it's a universal character. It's a universally understood character. Hey, This guy takes from people that are bad and steal from everybody. He takes it back and gives it to the people. That's who everyone wants to root for.
Yeah. Great cast.
It's a
Morgan
tremendous
Freeman,
cat.
Alan Rickman.
Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, Kevin Costner. There's a few other like really good bit players in this that are fun. It's got a
Uh,
strange dark undercurrent, and it's lit very strangely, which I really enjoy. It kind of has the dreariness to make it believable that I like.
got a lot of like great art direction and set design too.
Yes.
Really nice. Like actually a pretty big budget for back then.
I mean, it's Kevin Costner at the height of his powers when he's like the
Yeah,
guy.
that's true. That's pre Waterworld, so yeah.
It's pre-Waterworld where he's still extremely bankable. Because isn't this right?
Oh yeah.
This is only a year after Dances with Wolves, right? Because isn't Dances with Wolves 1990?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is a follow-up, and this is a huge hit for Warner Brothers. This is one of those Warner Brothers movies that.
Actually, while I have it up, I'll look at the number two at the box office.
Oh, I have number three. Okay. Yeah, $165.5 million domestically.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a huge movie for them. Here's how you know that it's important to the studios, but it didn't age well with audiences. If you go back and look at VHS tape previews, or even DVD previews, when they have like the big montage of movies from a certain studio in them, Prince of Thieves is always in there because it made them a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
So it's just like they always value the studio always valued it as, oh, the audience loves this, and it doesn't age well for a lot of people. But to me, it's just great character acting by a lot of fun people in a fun setting, and it's enjoyable. And I actually really enjoy, like you said, the set decoration is tremendous. I love the production design behind it.
Isn't Christian Slater also in there?
Christian Slater is also in there, yes,
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to think of like who else is in there.
but
Um,
it's a good cast. It's a really good
one
cast.
of the one of the things I always remember about this movie is there's a one part of the main theme of the score that they completely just take one of the studios. I can't remember which studio. They just took that and just used that theme as their studio intro.
Huh.
Like it's like one of the Disney
Offshoots.
offshoots. Yeah, I can't remember which one.
Interesting. Okay.
I'll actually
Now,
yeah.
Robert Hood, Prince of Thieves is very, very fun. And it's an enjoyable movie, and there's some humanity to it as well. Love Prince of Thieves. It's some would consider it a guilty pleasure movie. I just consider it fun, enjoyable. We can take you to your 65 now once you're
Also,
ready.
also it did have a song nominated for best song.
Which one was
Everything
that?
I do it for you.
Oh yeah,
Lost, but was nominated.
yeah.
Um,
That does play in the movie. I forgot about that.
yeah, it lost to a whole new world from Aladdin, but still nominated.
Wait, what? I thought Bodyguard was 92.
Oh, I
Bodyguard and
said,
Aladdin are 92. This is 91.
oh, sorry. It lost to Beauty and the Beast.
Fair.
91. Yeah, yeah.
Not much was going to beat Beauty and the Beast in the music category that year. Let me tell you.
Definitely not. They had three nominees that year, so
Oh.
yeah, it wasn't going to get beat. I 65 is Airplane.
Never seen Airplane all the way through. It just never worked for me when the scenes that
I
I've
mean,
seen.
I can't really talk about it. Like, there's only so many ways you can just say it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a funny movie.
Everyone knows Airplane, though. Everyone knows
Yeah,
Airplane in some way, shape, or form.
and it's just like a literally a ridiculous goof movie.
Yes.
That's all it is, and it's just like fitting in as many jokes humanly possible.
It's very much there has to be a joke every second. There has to. Surely you can't be serious. I am. And don't call me Shirley. It's like, just,
So many great jokes in that, and
yeah.
it like 90% of them are absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. No,
But
it's got a lot. Isn't Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in that movie?
yes, he is. He's a pilot in
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
It's just like I always forget that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had a film career because he shows up in I love Conan the Barbarian, and I made the mistake I think like a year or two ago of watching Conan the Destroyer, the sequel, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is like a big villain in that movie, and I'm like,
Really?
yes,
Huh. Wow. I could not picture that at all.
yeah, and I was just like, this doesn't work. This just doesn't
Yeah.
work. But okay,
Um.
like what
Yeah.
else?
And Leslie Nielsen, like, he was like a serious actor before he ever did comedy. So yeah,
I mean,
he's great.
it's usually those guys that transition well. It's the
Yeah,
ones
that's true.
that are serious actors, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, they got some comedic chops, and they just kind of stay in that realm for a while. They make it fun, but he's the reverse, where most people get in through the comedy route, and then they start going serious, and people are like, oh shit, they
Yeah.
can act. But it's fun to see the reverse of like, oh shit, this guy can act, and then oh, he makes spoof movies for his career now. Like,
Yeah.
I've yet to see it, but on my docket is Dracula Dead and Loving It with Leslie Nielsen because it's a Mel Brooks movie, but nonetheless.
Yeah. Yeah, if you
My
haven't seen Airplane, I'd highly recommend it. It's the dumbest fucking 90 minutes you'll ever see, but it's fun.
the dumbest the dumbest 90 minutes you'll ever see. For my 65, I'm going to take you to 1968. All-time box office. I cannot imagine this is actually true. This is I literally have it in quotes. Alleged all-time release, $238,000. And I know for a fact that has to be wrong by all the random little screenings it's had. But it's Night
Yeah,
of the
let me
Living
look
Dead.
this up. Oh, yeah, that has to be.
I think it's because in the time frame, that's what it made in like a theatrical release.
Yeah.
But that can't
Um,
be accurate. It makes $1 million almost every year off these little screenings from town to town and everything. And it was the feature in drive-in movies for 20 years. But uh, a must-watch for the horror fan. I love the slow setting and the ever-present feeling of danger. Groundbreaking and inspiring. Any creative watching this movie immediately believes that they can make a movie after watching this in all the best ways.
yeah.
That's what I
I
love
mean,
about Night of the Living Dead.
yeah, that has to be like, in terms of budget, the one of the smallest budget movies there are.
Shoestring. I think it could be argued.
That
Uh,
and Blair Witch has to be like the two
that's
proper.
I was gonna say, Night of the Living Dead might take the title for most inspiring movie with the least amount of money behind it ever, because it inspires truly an entire generation of filmmakers to make horror movies and to do things with it. And it's essentially just kind of like a student project, really. It's just like, oh, it's just we got a Pennsylvania farm. Why don't we just go do that?
Yeah. Yeah, and it doesn't always work in all the sequels, but there's some great like social commentary
Yes,
that Romero usually tries to fit in all his movies.
yes,
That's it's yeah, sometimes more successful than others.
yes. It,
Um,
I adore Night of the Living Dead. It is a must-have during Halloween. I refuse to go a September or October without watching, or at least attempting to watch Night of the Living Dead. Um, it's so slow pace by modern standards. But I love that. I just love because it just allows you to just breathe this air of desperation.
I think that's the problem with kind of the reputation it has is like when people hear that title, they think it's same thing with like The Exorcist. Like everyone always says, "Oh, scariest movie ever made."
Yeah.
It's like don't go in expecting that.
And as a modern audience, don't go in here, don't go in expecting Fast Zombies or like 28 Days Later or
Don't go in
anything like
expecting to
that.
be terrified.
Go in expecting. I mean, this is the zombie genre. It's as we know it today. It's based off of that film, and I love the zombie genre in general. So this is not the last appearance of zombies in my fucking top 100. Let me tell you, but enjoyable nonetheless. And yes, the social commentary is there. Prominent role for a person of color at the time when that was not really a thing. And
Yeah.
there's
I mean, 68, that's like in the midst of like all the civil rights stuff.
yeah,
I mean, that's the year MLK Jr. gets shot. That's the year that RFK gets shot. Like, it's still right in the middle of everything.
yeah, and
So,
their lead is a black man. It's tremendous.
yeah.
And he's a very good character presented in a good light, but also intelligent. Not just like, oh, he's likable. Like, no, he's an intelligent guy who's trying to do the right thing. And then naturally there has to be a honky ass dad that ruins everything. But nonetheless.
Probably would still happen today. Yeah.
Yeah. But I love Night of the Living Dead. It's quintessential. It's a must watch if you're trying to say you want to know film. You have to watch Night of the Living Dead at least once. You have to. Take us to your 64.
I-64 is the nice guy. Have you seen this movie?
I don't think so.
Yeah, Shane Black directed it and wrote it. Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling. Yeah, it's Russell Crowe as the straight man and Ryan Gosling as like the goofball. It's
Huh.
a combo that I didn't really know I needed, but like they work so well together. It's crazy.
Yeah.
They- this is the movie that really showed like, okay, Ryan Gosling actually is like pretty hilarious when he wants to be. Like
Yes.
he has real comedic chops.
Yeah.
'Cause
Oh,
I don't think like
he's so endearing. That's the big thing. He's such an
yeah.
endearing personality when he chooses to be.
Yeah, because like he had done like Crazy Stupid Love, but that's still like a rom com more than it is like just a comedy movie. Whereas this is like a genre comedy movie.
Yeah.
So I don't think he see Ryan Gosling and Barbie without this movie. Because this is like real comedy.
Yeah.
And it's like a whodunit kind of detective-ish movie.
Detective-ish.
Yeah, they're both private investigators trying to solve a murder, and there's a couple lines in it that are just like absolutely. They just I think of them all the time, and they just make me laugh so hard. Um, it, yeah, there's like true laugh out loud moments, and it was another movie going back to last episode with Zombieland,
Yeah.
where it's just a great surprise. Like I was going in expecting absolutely nothing from this movie, and it was like such a great surprise that it was so good.
Interesting. Yeah, no,
And it's set in the 70s, which is always fun.
you do love a 70s setting. You really do.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it's a great setting.
it's certainly an interesting vibe. Ryan Gosling's one of those actors that kind of just blindly hated for years because he just always did stuff that in movies that I just didn't find interesting. Where he just the choices that he had for movies, I was just kind of like, no, don't need it.
Well, I think like yeah, around the mid 2000s and late aughts, he was still trying to find where he wanted to be.
Yes.
It's like still like The Notebook and like Half Nelson and then Lars and the Real Girl, like which are movies I think are actually good, but like they're not like necessarily crowd pleasers or anything.
Yeah, and that's why even up to
Well,
Barbie,
I
I
should
still
say
have.
The Notebook definitely is a crowd pleaser.
I was gonna say you gotta love the Notebook. But the up and even till Barbie, I had reservations of Ryan Gosling in movies. Where it's kind of like I got no problem with Ryan Gosling; he's a good actor, but just he normally would just pick stuff I wasn't interested in, and then I saw him in Barbie, and I just went, "This man is a genius. This man is a genius. I love it." And then Fall Guy is so much fun from 2024. I highly recommend that movie. Certainly something that did not get enough praise box office wise, and kind of got panned by some people, but I think it's just fun and enjoyable. So
Yeah.
I love it. My 64. Take you to 2007. Its box office return, I'm assuming, is My $4 on Amazon Prime, and that is it. It's a small little film called Murder Party. I've told you about this before, but little blurb
Yes.
here. My favorite little independent movie. It hit home as I just went through some college art classes, and it totally takes the piss out of holier than thou art culture, which is why I fucking love this movie. Uh, this is part of our obligatory spooky season. Has to be in all top tens, or has to be in every group of 10. Has to have some spooky season vibes to it, along with Night of the Living Dead. To set the stage, an unwitting, kind of down on his luck loser who lives in New York randomly comes upon an invitation to a murder party. And at said murder party, he is going to be murdered. He does not know that. But the whole point is it's a collective of artists that are trying to make it in the world, but they all just shit on each other behind each other's back. And they all try to use the really stereotypical art talk of things. And his murder is going to be the ultimate act of art. But they all debate on like how it's going to happen. And then they have an investor who turns out to be a total fraud, and shit just happens, and it gets fucking wild at the end of it. And it's very endearing to me. It hit at the perfect time. It was right after I went through some art classes and just started to be really demystified with art culture, where I was just like, can you just stop thinking everything that you do is so fucking important for once and just make something? Like, it's okay to just make something and be proud of it and not have to. I think it does a really good job of showcasing people in art that the way they deal with their insecurities is by shitting on other people's art. I think that's why it connects with me so well. Because it's just
Yeah.
friends that talk each other up in a shitty way, and then behind each other's back are just like, oh my god, can you believe this shit? And then they try to say like really big academic words just to say them, and it's so irreverent. And I fucking love Murder Party. It's great. Had to put Murder Party on my list, and I'm quite sure that my $4 on Amazon Prime is the only return on investment they've ever had. But nonetheless, I love Murder Party. I love Murder Party too much.
Okay. Yeah, I have not seen it, so I can't comment. My 63 is a movie again that everyone is aware of. It's The Lion King. Like,
At one point, I think this would have been a top 10 movie for you in your lifetime.
oh no, it at one point on my list, it was definitely in the top 20, 100%.
You fucking love The Lion King.
It's a great movie. I mean, I still love it. It's just,
You named a cat after Nala, so that makes sense.
yeah, that's true. Um, the big things about it, I mean, the soundtrack and score are amazing. Like
Obviously.
some of the best soundtrack and both are like standout in terms of the '90s.
Yeah.
I'd actually go as far as saying like of all time, because I don't think Hans Zimmer. Everyone talks about the soundtrack and knows it's great, but I don't think Hans Zimmer actually gets enough love for his score in that movie.
Yeah, because it's overshadowed by Elton John.
Yeah. But like the score is amazing to that movie. Like when he's going up on Pride Rock at the end, it's great. It's amazing.
It
And the
Lion King
stampede
is
sequence as well.
The Lion King is a perfect example music wise of how a composer can have such a wide range. Because when you think of Hans Zimmer, immediately you're like Dark Knight, rest of the Christopher Nolan movies such as Inception, Interstellar,
Yeah.
If you know it, Pirates of the Caribbean, which he
Yeah.
doesn't do.
Gladiator.
Gladiator, like those are the things you think of with Hans Zimmer, but you don't. But I remember watching. Uh, he played Coachella once, which the fact that Coachella is like, yo, let's have Hans Zimmer. I was like, I believe in
I've
Coachella
seen
now.
that concert. Yeah.
And I remember watching that, and they got to the Lion King part. I was like, oh my god, I fucking forgot he did Lion King and how goddamn good this is. The the music carries that movie. It carries
Yeah.
that movie entirely. I'm not saying the movie's bad, but if that just got Disney music of the time, it'd still be a good movie. But they took their model that already clearly worked and just went, what if we up the ante even more and made Lion King the definitive animated film of the time? Even compared to Beauty and the Beast. I think Beauty and the Beast is better as a movie. But in terms
So
of
do I. Which you'll see on my list.
remembrance, Lion King is the quintessential movie of the 90s
I think most people would agree. Like
for Disney.
of our childhood, most people revere the Lion King the most.
Yeah. Which is ironic because I always connected with the older work of Disney that people don't like as much compared to the 90s shit that
Yeah.
we watched. But nonetheless.
I mean, they hit a stride in the 90s, that's for damn sure.
Oh, that Disney revival, baby. He may have been a prick, but Katzenberg knew what the fuck he was doing with that animation studio. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Goddamn.
Yeah. Elton John, Tim Rice. You know what they're doing with music.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. All right, I'll take you to a wildly different movie, but also has a lot of underrated scoring to it. And that is 1978's third highest grosser at the box office. That is National Lampoon's Animal House. I fucking love Animal House.
Okay. A
Uh,
movie that I actually do not enjoy.
Added to the string of irreverent comedies I found during my teenage years, the pure absurdity of the homecoming parade at the end of the film is a true favorite of mine. I just love the pioneer spirit of that movie. And what I mean by that is a bunch of guys who had never wrote a movie wrote a movie. Like, or they barely had any experience and they're like,
Yeah.
what if we just wrote this thing? Because they had the Kentucky Fried movie beforehand. But this is really Harold Ramis and team from National Lampoon's just, what if we just wrote a real movie? Let's just try.
Yeah. I mean, it was number 2 at the box office. 120 million. Eating Close Encounters. Eating Saturday Night Fever. And pretty impressive.
I mean, it's a popular movie of the time. John Belushi's at his finest in this, and people understand that. If you want to understand why people will talk about reverence comedically for John Belushi, you watch Animal House. That's anyone's like Blues Brothers. I'm like, I get it. Blues Brothers works for some people, doesn't for others. This is the movie that you go to just watch a comedic force when it comes to John Belushi.
Yeah.
But the parade scene at the end where they're just wreaking havoc across the entire city, or just the pure absurdity of like accidentally killing a horse when they don't mean to kill a horse in someone's office, and then they have to like saw the horse into pieces afterwards. It's fucking incredible. I goddamn love that movie.
Yeah, I saw this movie probably when you first discovered it, I
Yeah,
would guess. And I don't think I've seen it since, and I don't remember liking it just because, I don't know, there's just something about it. Like, eh, first off, I don't like comedy that much from that era.
fair.
So,
Late 70s, early 80s comedies are some of my absolute favorites. So I will say
yeah.
that works for me. Um, and I completely understand it. I will say this: in terms of an age vacuum, a lot of shit you couldn't get away with today. That you just be like, those guys fucking suck. They're
Yeah.
shitheads. But at the time, it's
Yeah.
hilarious, and I view it through that
It's kind of
lens.
like, maybe it's just that whole troop that I don't love. Like, I don't love Stripes or like, Mostly Bill Murray,
I was gonna
honestly.
say you don't really like Animal House. You're not really a Caddyshack person. You don't
Yeah,
really
not
like
really.
Stripes. Like, just
Yeah,
the year's top comedy from about 78 to about 84. You're just like, no, you don't really like.
yeah.
It's not your thing.
I could take or leave the first vacation.
Yes, it,
Um,
it's not your cup of
yeah.
tea, and it's okay if it's not your cup of tea. I love Animal House. It's certainly it's a comfort movie for me as well. I just enjoy
I mean, it also
absurdity of it.
just like I would say it probably helped create almost an entire genre
Yeah,
with like the sex comedy genre.
very much so.
With, yeah, with Porky's and all that. So
I mean, the other thing is, yes,
shows how successful it was.
it is one of the first movies to really play the comedic role of college, as college is true for a lot of people, as opposed to college being like, oh, we need to work and we need to study, and there, oh, there's that screw up. This was very much like this is a movie that accurately portrays the frat boy life of the
Yeah,
time frame,
debauchery.
the debauchery of it all. So, and that's what I love about it. Take us to 62 for you.
62 is Apollo 13.
I almost watched that for the first time the other day, but I chose not to because I didn't know if I was into the mood.
First off, great cast. I
Incredible
mean,
cast.
yeah, all men, I'd say. But then again, it's about NASA in what, the 60s? Yeah, 60s.
Yeah,
So it's warranted. It's not like a fault of the movie.
yeah.
Um, one of the really refreshing things is like, how often do you science and um, ingenuity as the stars and heroes of a blockbuster movie? Like,
Almost never.
yeah, you don't see that in giant movies ever. So it's really nice to see like all these people just their brains just come up with problem solving to save these people's lives. And it's like really, really there's some really great sequences in there. And everyone always talks about obviously the main that are on the ship, Kevin Bacon, um, Hanks, and then
Gary Sinise,
blanking
isn't
on
it?
oh Gary Sinise is down on he gets stuck on Earth because he can't go because he gets a cold.
Uh,
Or he tests like a falsely for some sickness that he can't go, so he gets replaced by Kevin Bacon.
I mean, good
And
for
then
him in the end, but damn.
well, they all survive in the end, so it's all good. But uh but then Gary Sinise is like one of the heroes in the end because he has to like figure out in the module in the on Earth how to solve all the problems that they're experiencing.
Sure.
But yeah, everyone talks about like Bill Paxton, Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon always. But one of the like performances that I just love in it is Ed Harris, who's the like head of whole program,
Yeah. Ed
and
Harris is
you
great in
can just
everything he
tell.
fucking does. Ed Harris is
Yeah,
awesome.
that's true. He's always great. But you can just tell like how much he cares and how much he wants to like get these people back home. I just love it.
Yeah.
And then when there's finally that moment where they save him, it's so glorious. It's great.
Yeah, again, I've never seen Apollo 13. Know plenty about it though, and yeah, that cast
Oh,
just
get
screams
ready.
sincerity.
Lupin's about to bark.
Why?
There's a dog
Oh
that he
boy.
hates.
That he hates. I do love the times that this podcast pauses to be the Lupin comment, the
Oh,
Lupin
yeah.
commentary podcast. Love that. It's always fun to get to hear, see. We love Lupin, and Lupin's good. Well, from your 62, I'm going to keep you in the range of movies that you absolutely hate. And I'm going to take you to 1981, fifth highest grosser. It's your favorite movie, Stripes. Love Stripes. Uh, Bill Murray and Harold Ramis take on the Cold War. Easiest way to say it. Outside of the Wisconsin slander in that movie, I love every second of this film. A Winnebago being the ultimate assault vehicle is truly the best of American spirit that you could possibly imagine. That is the most American thing I've ever heard of in my life.
He's just watched at the wrong. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I just dislike Bill Murray that much.
I think you just don't like Bill Murray, and that's okay. If he doesn't work for you, he doesn't work for you.
He just comes across as.
I didn't hear that last part. You're kind of cutting in and out a little bit.
Oh, sorry. He always comes across as like like kind of gross
Okay.
in a pervert way.
Yes, he does. I understand. He very much plays the time period. And I think it's reflected because he doesn't do that now in movies.
Or I guess the best way would be like he was like the guy who would hang around with people younger than him that is constantly trying to impress them. Like he's like 25 hanging out with like 17-year-olds and they all think he's just the coolest guy, but really he's like a loser. That's
Damn,
what it feels
dude.
like to me.
Okay, I mean, if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. It works for me though.
Yeah.
Also, the movie that turned.
I mean, I'm in the minority. Everyone loves Bill Murray.
Yeah,
so.
you are in the minority. I will say that, but also the movie that oddly turns PJ Souls into a little bit of like a cult icon, which is hilarious. But
Oh, I don't remember her at all.
there's a band that made like a whole album, like whatever happened to PJ Souls. Like the whole album's like about what happened to her.
When is Stripes?
81.
Okay, so yeah, 3 years after Halloween. So
And yeah, she just like she's tailor made for the 80s. That's an 80s starlet if I've ever seen one. She's got the look of the 80s down pat. Especially like the scene in which they theoretically like have sex in a chest and you just see her come out of this like big treasure chest looking thing. And you're like, well, that's a woman of the 80s if I've ever seen one. But it's the early 80s as they're transitioning to like the classic giant hair, like Twisted Sister kind of look.
yeah, she's
it's
definitely
before that.
like.
She doesn't have that look to her, but
Yeah, I was gonna say she definitely is more of like a '70s chick.
it's more '70s transition to early '80s, like Girl Next Door vibe. That's really endearing. Sean Young is also really endearing in this movie as well. I just love the concept of Bill Murray and Harold Ramis defeating communism by Winnebago. The idea of that is tremendous. And I do love that even Wisconsin slander is turned into Wisconsin praise. Where he's like, it's going into Czechoslovakia. It's like going into Wisconsin. He's like, yeah, well, I got the shit kicked out of me in Wisconsin one time. Like, every time I hear that line, I'm like, come on, Bill. I know you're from Chicago, but come on. And then it's Harold Ramis being like, I got the shit kicked out of me in Wisconsin time. I'm like, all right, we got our win back. Not biased towards my home state at all. But I adore Stripes. Again, it worked perfectly for 15, 16-year-old Evan. That was when I got all those comedies introduced to me. It was about 14 to 16. I would just track down anything of that time period I could to find. Dad kind of opened the door, and I just kicked the door down. I was like, I want as many of these movies as possible. But that is my 62, and I know it is not a movie that you like. I can't imagine if we rewatched it now, you would... I think you might enjoy it a little bit more because of Harold Ramis. but the movie is so focused on Bill Murray.
Yeah, possibly.
I don't know if you would like watching it again with Bill Murray.
Yeah, probably not. Honestly.
It's a shame. It's a shame. Love Bill Murray.
Uh, yeah, and it's funny because I do enjoy him in something like Zombieland.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, that's a perfect cameo for Bill Murray for
yeah.
you to like. Yeah.
I-61 is Jojo Rabbit.
Well,
Oh, was that on your list?
Jojo Rabbit's not on my list.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit with the Oscar episode.
Yes, you can go.
Um,
You can go check that out in the archives. Oscars 19 through 2023.
yeah, it's just fun. It's hilarious. I really connect with Taika Waititi comedy. Like
Yeah,
What We Do in the Shadows is. I love that movie too.
yeah, that's tremendous.
And I I know a lot of people don't like Thor Ragnarok, but I really like that movie too.
I don't like
Um,
Thor Ragnarok, and Thor: Love and Thunder is legitimately slapping me across the face.
Love and Thunder sucks. I'll definitely agree with that. That movie sucks.
My issue with Ragnarok is if I wanted Guardians of the Galaxy, I'd go watch Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't want bootleg Guardians of the Galaxy.
Sure, I can see that. I just like his comedy style.
Yes,
Um,
the stylings work. It just has to be in the right context. I think I'm kind of over Taika Waititi at this point. I think that's the problem. Because I think for me the peak is Jojo Rabbit, and then it's just kind of the world kind of became obsessed
yeah.
with Taika Waititi, and then he got too much for me, and I just went, I'm kind of done. But
Well, I want to see.
Jojo Rabbit is not a problem. Jojo Rabbit's great.
Yeah, I want to see him do more stuff like Jojo Rabbit. Like, it's move away from giant studios. Like, do completely original
Yeah,
because that's where he got his start, and that's where it stay.
yeah,
I think. I obviously that's like the biggest critique I have of all those Marvel huge blockbuster movies is like they take all these like up and coming filmmakers who make like one or two good movies and they just toss them into these giant 150 $200 million movies immediately.
that are
And
half
sometimes they
previs and they don't really get to have as much of a voice as they should.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then sometimes they succeed, sometimes they don't, but
yeah, that's an interesting study. We should look into that for an episode one time. With
I
Marvel.
mean, it happens all the time.
Yeah,
Like,
the only one that's worked recently that still feels like that director's movie is Multiverse of Madness, which is why Multiverse of Madness kind of feels out of place in Marvel
in
because
Multiverse of Madness,
it's a Sam Raimi
Sam,
movie.
but Sam Raimi has 30 years of work before that.
Exactly. So that's why I'd like to do a study of a couple Marvel movies and be like, does this actually match quality wise with the rest of their work or not?
Um, yeah, but Jojo Rabbit has like great comedy, has real heart in there. Like, there's real heartbreak in there.
The undercurrent of dread is what I love about that movie. You know it's coming. You just
Well,
know.
the gut punch of the one scene in particular, without getting into spoilers,
Yeah.
is like it is such a great reveal of filmmaking
Yep.
that it like it hits you so hard,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and then to just rely on two teenagers for the rest of your movie is pretty ballsy,
Yeah.
and they carry it well
They do.
for the rest of them.
Jojo Rabbit is a very heartfelt movie that I really appreciate, but I just love the undercurrent of late Nazi Germany when everybody knows it's fucked.
Yeah,
Everybody knows it ain't gonna work, but they're still like the people that have gone with it are just clinging to it working because it's their only option at the time, or they're secretly just trying to make it through and they
yeah,
don't want to be a part of it, but they're stuck in their place. And I guess for themselves, they were fortunate enough not to be put into a concentration camp, but they're not fortunate enough to not be part of the Nazi regime, and they're just kind of stuck in this middle ground of, well, the world sucks, we're fucked.
Yeah. I love the last scene. Well, not the last scene, but the ending scene of where there's like literal kids running into the war,
Yeah,
like the Hitler Youth, where Germany's in desperation.
yeah,
And there's just like literal 10, like 8-year olds running into battle.
yeah.
Or, Rebel Wilson is like handing them the machine guns and grenades and shit.
Yeah,
That's great.
it's absurd shit, and it's a damn good movie. Jojo Rabbit's very good. Now I can tell you, we're out of a genre that you don't like. Taking you a place you will like. My number 61 to close out the episode. 41st at the box office in 1987, but quite possibly has one of the biggest staying powers I've ever seen in a movie, due to heart and endearment. That is The Princess Bride.
Oh yes,
Um,
definitely a cult movie for sure.
Definitely their top three rewound VHS tapes in Evan Davies history, perhaps. Um, it's one of the best gifts a grandmother could get their grandsons. Adventure, horror, love, comedy galore. Inconceivable. What? There's just so much heart in that movie. There's just something so romantic and endearing about The Princess Bride. You gotta love it.
Yeah,
You gotta love it.
yeah, great screenplay by William Golden, and then it's funny how well that movie has aged.
It's
It's like
insane how well that movie has aged.
like I don't I've never met someone who doesn't like that movie. Like, have you ever heard anyone say a bad thing about that movie?
No, that's the crazy part is people who haven't seen it, they say, "Oh, I've never seen that movie." The most you might get is, "Isn't it like some fantasy movie?" That's the most you'll get. People who see it don't just like it; they love it. And it's not the
Yeah,
kind of love where they gush over it and it's my favorite movie of all time. I love it, but they just have this. The Princess Bride to me is the definition of cozy movie. To use your words,
true. Yeah,
everyone just the Princess Bride. The way people speak of it is the equivalent of a warm cup of cocoa during the first snowfall of the year. Like that's what the Princess Bride is. Like you're bundled up in your blankie, you got your cup of cocoa, and you're just enjoying life. You're just like, this is the simplest and greatest feeling I could ever have in life. That's what Princess
yeah,
Bride is.
yeah. One of the great things about it is like seems like William Goldman when he's writing it is just like, what do I like? Okay, we'll just throw some swashbuckling in there
I mean, he
and
wrote the
some
book
pie.
too, so that it
Yeah,
works.
yeah. It's just like some pirates, uh, Zorro type shit. Like
Yeah,
there's so much just random shit just thrown in there.
and it's paced beautifully.
And then you have like random fantasy elements with like the dark forest and all that.
Mm-hmm. The machine that takes off years of your life and all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff. Also, what an introduction for Robin Wright. You like
Yeah.
within 10 minutes once you're over her, like not even within 2 minutes when you first meet her and she's kind of bitchy. But you understand why he's in love with her. And within 2 minutes you're like, this is the fantasy girl. This is a queen in the making. We all fucking know it. This is perfect. And there's just something about her that is so endearing in that movie. Plus, you get Manny Patinkin in the role of a lifetime. The reason he still has a fucking career is because of
Oh,
this
100%.
movie.
Yeah.
Uh, Possibly one of the greatest uses of an athlete in a movie ever with Andre the Giant as Fezzik. Using the natural likability of Andre to your advantage. And this is at a time when Andre's in really rough shape. So the fact that he was even able to do this speaks volumes to how good it was to work with him. And then Cary Elwes is tremendous as Wesley.
Yeah.
Just that.
Talk about another person who doesn't work enough.
Yes, I was so thrilled because I just watched, as of recording, a
Mission
couple days ago,
Impossible.
Dead Reckoning, and
Yes.
I just went fucking Cary Elwes. Like every time Cary Elwes pops up in a movie I watch, I immediately
Yeah.
fucking Cary Elwes. Yes.
Yeah, when I saw it in the theater, I was like, "Hey, nice!
Yeah.
Finally
And
back."
it all goes back to Princess Bride because I
Yeah.
loved him as a child, and anytime I've seen him in a movie since, I just go, oh shit,
Also,
let's go.
it should be stated, he's great at pulling off an English accent. Like,
Isn't he not? Isn't he English?
he's American.
What?
He's got like the greatest fake British accent ever.
I don't. He's so good at it. I don't believe you. I have to look this up.
I'm fairly certain that she's American. Is he?
Westminster, London, UK.
Oh shit. Okay.
I
'Cause,
was gonna say that's too good. That'd be way too good if he was able to do that shit.
'cause I was about to say because I thought for some reason that didn't have. Oh no, there is a joke about it in
In Men in Tights.
Men in Tights.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
unlike
That's
some
right.
other Robin Hoods, I can use an English accent.
Yes,
Um,
yes. But what was I saying? Oh, Cary Elwes. Yeah, he's another person that just has like raw charisma.
Raw charisma. He's he's one of the few actors that I'm flabbergasted didn't get better roles because of just raw love and magnetism.
Yeah.
Where
Look up
if someone said I fell in love with Cary Elwes, I just think he's the dreamiest, I would get it. For some actors, when people say that, I'm like, I don't understand it. He's one where if someone said I fell in love with Wesley from The Princess Bride, I'd be like, I totally understand it. I'd fall in love with Wesley. I don't give a fuck. Like, he's so damn charming in that movie. And also, talk about all-time cameo work with Billy Crystal and Carol Kane in that movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
I mean,
good.
some of the best. Um, Probably one of the most like standout. Probably the standout scene in that movie is the Miracle Max.
Liar! Liar!
Also, I have to say, I'm fairly certain that there wouldn't be a Lord Farquaad. He wouldn't look like he does if there wasn't Humperdinck.
Very, very, very true. He is.
Okay, so I was gonna say I was gonna say maybe he just doesn't pick like great roles for himself. He actually did pick great movies for.
Yeah.
Like he was in Glory, which is a great movie, underrated movie. In Hot Shots, then Bram Stoker's Dracula.
He's in Days of
And
Thunder with Tom Cruise, right?
yes,
I just
he's in
saw
Men
I
in
just
Tights.
saw part of that for the first time a couple weeks ago.
He's Twister. He's in Liar Liar. Like, and then that's kind of like after Twister, that's kind of where he starts falling off. And then he's the lead in Saw, which he's great in.
Yeah.
But after that, after Saw is where he really falls. Fortunately,
I think it might be. I would love to know if he became one of those actors that he had kids and he kind of just went,
yeah, maybe.
I
Who
don't
knows?
know, because there's a lot of actors like that. They kind of drop off right around the mid 30s when they start having children, and then all of a sudden they just kind of disappear for a couple years. I'm not saying it's due to kids, but like Michael Keaton kind of had a similar way about him, where like outside of one little random pop in here or there for like Jackie Brown, post like Jack Frost, Michael Keaton kind of doesn't exist in film for like 10 years, 12 years. And I know he was in
Yeah.
that movie like White Noise or something like that. But then he pops up
Oh
in
yeah.
the other guys and everyone just goes, "Fucking Michael Keaton." Hell yeah! I like that. It's just
Yeah.
Carrie Elwes has a similar arc to him like that because I've seen him more recently do pop in roles, kind of like Mission Impossible, and I would just love to get to see him do something more. Like he's the kind of actor I don't understand why like a Marvel when they have all these like shield representatives or like espionage representatives. I think he'd
The
be
bureaucrats.
I think I would love to see him get to play with Sam Jackson's Nick Fury as like an English counterpart. That'd be fun to just get to see the charm versus just the raw magnetism. I think that'd be a lot of fun to get to play with.
Yeah.
But there's just such endearment. And the funniest part is Chris Sarandon, total douche as
Hmm.
the prince, and yet he plays one of my all-time favorite plays voices one of my all-time favorite characters ever as Jack Skellington. So it's so crazy to think like I
Oh yeah, I
fucking
forgot he's
I because everyone forgets because Danny Elfman does the singing parts for it,
that's the yeah.
but
What I always think of.
all the heartfelt stuff between Sally and speaking roles, that's all Chris Sarandon. So it's so wild to me that a character that truly as a child I'm like, fuck this guy. This guy fucking sucks. Also voices one of the most endearing characters that has made such a difference in my life as well. It's a wild concept to see.
Yeah,
In
one of
him.
the weirdest things about Chris Sarandon that I know is that him and Susan Sarandon used to be married,
Yep.
and then they when they got divorced, Susan Sarandon just kept the last name because it sounded good.
Yep.
So like still goes by it.
Yeah, it's interesting to say the least. Great time. Good movie. Love that.
Actually, I don't know. It might be on my. I actually don't know, but it might be on my list later. But I don't know that for a fact.
Okay. Is this maybe a blind spot that you now go, fuck, I gotta make sure this is on the list?
Well, no, the thing is, like, it definitely used to be on my list, and if it's not, yeah, it be forgetting it.
It's one of those movies that pops up randomly on vacations for Ab and I. Like, usually when we're chilling in an Airbnb, my wife and I do a lot of national parks travel, and we stay in Airbnbs. And so it's usually go hiking, see beautiful nature, come back, have a
Okay,
meal,
it
and
is on my list.
okay, have a meal, and then we watch like random ass movies that we find on streaming services. Remember one time being in, and we were in the middle of fucking nowhere, Arizona, to go to Petrified Forest, and like we're in this like dinky little hotel room, but they had Disney Plus available. I was like, I put it through, and Ab's like, I want to watch Princess Bride. I was like, we're not even gonna look. She's like, I want to watch Princess Bride. The second she thought of the thumbnail, I was like, guess we're watching the Princess Bride. Click, and then 20 minutes in, I'm like, I don't know why I bitched. I fucking love this movie. So love the Princess Bride. But that is our 70 through 61. So 70 for Dylan was Smokey and the Bandit. Mine was To Have and Have Not. Then 69 is The Bodyguard and It. 68, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington for Dylan. Mine was The Patriot. 67 was Dylan's was The Exorcist. Mine was Hook. 66, Guardians of the Galaxy and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. 65, Airplane and Night of the Living Dead. 64 was The Nice Guy and my very, 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 very niche Murder Party. 63 was The Lion King and Animal House. 62, Apollo 13, Stripes. And 61 was Jojo Rabbit and The Princess Bride. So, a lot of fun, but we got a lot of differences in those. So, it's interesting to see where we're going and having fun. And I hope you guys are enjoying this. Just tell us what you guys are feeling. Actually, you know what? We should have said this all along. In the comment section, rank yours. Tell us how you feel in this block. Let us know how you see, because we'd love to see it. And, you know, tell us if you don't like some of our choices. That's totally fine. We're okay with that. I hope you guys are enjoying this series as much as we are. This is clearly the longest episode during this time frame, but we love talking about movies that we love. And even movies that we hate, apparently, like Stripes and Animal House. Because
I
Dylan
don't hate it. I just don't like it.
Because Dylan hates Bill Murray. So,
Yes.
But alas, that is it. But thank you guys so much for listening and for watching wherever you may be. Go watch a great movie. Some of the ones we've recommended today would probably be awesome for you. But thank you so much. Stay in touch. We'd love to see you again. Peace, love, and hugs to you all.